It's technically the offseason for us, but it's not the offseason for the rest of baseball. So we do have some news to talk about, and we'll talk about it next on an all-new live Locked On Yankees.
You are Locked On Yankees, your daily New York Yankees podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Yankees, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for making us your first listen every day. I'm Stacey Gotsoulias. He's Brian McKeon. We're both lifelong Yankee fans, and we're sitting here live on October 13th thinking to ourselves, why aren't we watching our team in the ALCS?
A lot of reasons for it, for sure, but yeah, definitely frustrating.
Yeah. Actually, later in the show, let's talk about the crazy game to end the ALDS, the other one, because we didn't get to talk about that yet. So we'll do that later in the show. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll win $300 in bonus bets to use. Well, you could win too, but to use across the app. Download the app today. So on today's show, we'll tell you about some news from around the league. People are retiring. People are being retained. There's a lot of stuff going on. We're going to talk about how the ALCS and the ALCS and the NLCS are both historic for different reasons. But first, let's discuss Cody Bellinger doing what we all thought he was going to do and opt out of his contract. Yeah,
this shouldn't take anyone by surprise, to be honest. I mean, he was due $25 million if he opted in to the contract, which we all knew there was no chance he was going to do, especially coming off the year that he had. A lot of players have this in their contract almost as a safety blanket. If he were to get hurt in like the opening week, just say, or just had a completely awful season, he could just opt into this contract, get his guaranteed money. But it's a safety net. He's going to get a nice payday. But for whoever gives him this contract, I did see a couple of like angry Yankee posts on the internet, which kind of confused me about this. This
never happens.
No, but like this shouldn't have taken anybody by
no.
And if you're a Yankee fan and you blame Cody Bellinger for this, he's not supposed to do the Yankees a favor.
No,
he's not. And Garrett Cole opted out last year. Like this happens. So I don't have any begrudged feelings towards Cody Bellinger. They still have the same amount of opportunity to sign him as anybody else does. And he even said that publicly, where he was like, yeah, I'm going to, talk to the Yankees and everybody else, and we'll see what happens. So I'm not overly surprised, nor am I angry.
Right. I'm not angry at all either. Good for him for doing it. He will collect a $5 million buyout, half of which will be paid by the Cubs anyway. So
isn't it weird how those little things get negotiated in these deals?
Yeah.
The Yankees make a trade with the Cubs and they're like, just so if he opts out, he gets $5 million bonus. You guys got to pay half of that. Okay. Like that's what's being thought of in that moment.
It's basically like, let's go Dutch. You guys take half, I take half.
If I'm the Cubs, I'm like, why? Like he's not our player anymore. Why do we have to do that? But they agreed to it, so whatever.
Right. Yeah, there was a breakdown. I didn't put it in the rundown, but there was a breakdown of what he was getting paid from the Cubs and what the Yankees took over and different things that were happening with the contract. And my eyes, it's funny with regular numbers, like, how I like numbers and sequences and stuff. My eyes don't glaze over with that. But when it comes to contract stuff, my brain's like, no.
Yeah. It gets very complicated and there's a lot of nuance to it. So
yeah. I put together some numbers, got them all from MLB Trade Rumors, just so you all know. Just want to let you know, this is where I got most of my information from, because they're really good at breaking down everything about a player when they opt out, when they're being traded, all that stuff. So across 656 plate appearances for the Yankees, his batting line was .272, .334, .480. He hit 29 home runs, which was his best single season total since he hit 47 back in his MVP season of 2019. Of course, between then and now, he had the shoulder issue. So some things have happened between then and now, and he's also aged. So that would explain why some of the numbers have gone down.
And he played at Wrigley for 2 years, which is like an impossible park to hit home runs in too.
Right. He stole 13 bases. He also cut his strikeout rate to a career low 13.7%.
In today's era?
Yeah. He hit 18 of his 29 homers in Yankee Stadium. And this was interesting. So, like I said, he hit 18 in Yankee Stadium, he had a batting line of 302, 365, 544 batting in Yankee Stadium. On the road, he was basically league average, 241 average, 301 on base, 414 slugging on the road.
So he's built for the Bronx, is what you're saying.
Pretty much. And this is what they said on MLB Trade Rumors, that in itself may give other teams a bit of pause thinking about signing Cody Bellinger, since he didn't do as well on the road and he did better in Yankee Stadium. But you never know, because remember when the Yankees got DJ LeMahieu and everyone was thinking, he's not going to hit outside Coors Field, and he had the best years of his career for those first 2 years.
Yeah, but this is one of those scenarios where that might have helped the Yankees back then. This might help the Yankees too, though, because it gives more teams pause, and the price might come down for Cody Bellinger. And it might. I don't think the Yankees are going over a certain price here, so this might actually help them remain in the negotiations.
Yeah, so I thought this was interesting. They also mentioned this on MLB Trade Rumors. Bellinger has been in the bottom quarter of the league in average exit velocity in each of his past 3 seasons. So he doesn't have a lot of bat speed. So he doesn't hit the ball as hard as he did earlier in his career. Again, before he suffered the shoulder injury, which kind of screwed with his numbers. But he's compensated in that drop by dropping his strikeouts every season, which we just mentioned. He had a career low this past season. And he has a 281, 338, 477 line in nearly 1,800 plate appearances over those 3 years. So while he's not hitting the ball a ton, you're not seeing so much of an offensive drop off because he's not hitting the ball a ton.
It's funny too, because everyone remembers that rookie year, just like Judge's rookie year in 2017, where they were both outstanding, both of them. And everybody kind of thought Bellinger was going to become this Giancarlo Stanton, Aaron Judge type player where they hit a lot of home runs and everything. And he wound up not being that player, and everybody kind of gave him crap for it. And again, the shoulder injury does kind of hurt. Remember, he got that injury, by the way, celebrating in a playoff game. Remember that they did the shoulder celebration and he wound up actually like tearing something.
That was 2020, right? Yeah, he tore his.
Yeah, it was awful.
Whatever it was. Oh, rotator cuff, I think, right?
Yeah, by doing that stupid shoulder celebration. Yeah, stupid. But he never really was that like touted to be this power hitter. And then he comes in his rookie year, hits the 47 home runs, and everyone's like, whoa, who is this guy? Wins an MVP. And he never really was that kind of player. And after the shoulder injury, he gets out of LA, which he kind of needed, goes to Chicago, and becomes this more contact hitter who can also provide some power, especially once he got to Yankee Stadium. He's become a very, very, very solid baseball player, just an all-around really good ball player. Not trying to be that. Remember how many strikeouts he had in his first year too? I mean, he's a completely different player when it comes to all that. So you got to be proud of the progress that he's made since LA.
So I thought this was an interesting thing that they brought up. So he is returning to the market just a few months after he turns 30, which is the prime time for everyone to be entering free agency. And MLB Trade Rumors thinks that he's young enough to seek a 5 or 6 year deal. And they compared it to Anthony Santander, who signed for 5 years. And it says with a net present value around $69 million last winter. And they're saying that Bellinger is definitely a better defender than him and a better all-around hitter. So it wouldn't be shocking to see Bellinger beat that amount in free agency.
I wouldn't be remotely surprised if he beat that amount, to be quite honest with you. I think he's going to get way more. To be honest with you, 5 years, $69 million. If I were to take that right now, I think Bellinger would, far. That's $13.8 million a year. I mean, I would give Bellinger, I'd be comfortable with way more than that.
Yeah.
Like, what's the price that you see for Bellinger where you're like, ooh, that's a little steep? Because I honestly, the way I thought going into that sounds like a little low, especially comparing him. I think he's a far better player than Santander, especially his batting average is a lot higher. Doesn't strike out as much.
I think he gets somewhere between like 120 and 150 total.
Yeah. Like I thought, I honestly, I kind of expect his number to be somewhere between 25 and 32 million a year.
Yeah.
I really do. Like, if you give me, even Stacey, I'm going to be honest. If he gives you 5 years, 120, that's 24 million a year. I'd love that deal. I have no problem with that. So I wouldn't even, I'm not, obviously, your research is your research, and whatever MLB Trade Rumors told you is, but I don't agree with that. I don't think he's in that. I don't think he's in comparison with Santander. I think he's a far, far, far better
Well,
player
no,
than
that's what they're saying. Like, he's definitely going to get better
No,
than
no,
that.
I think he's but I think he's leaps and bounds above Santander. I don't even think they should be compared when it comes to contract value. Like, I don't think he's going to sit on the free agent market nearly as long as Santander did.
Yeah, because that's what they said. They said that there's little reason Bellinger shouldn't beat that contract fairly handily. So you could see Bellinger getting double that compared to Santander.
Okay, here's a deal that because I think they're going to have, anytime you see he's going to get the 5 to 6 year range, it means he's getting 6 because someone offers 5 and then someone else goes to 6. That's how these things work. It could go to 7 at this point if that's what they're saying. So who knows? If we turn on Locked On Yankees tomorrow night and we see the report come across your phone and it says 6 years, $170 million with the Yankees, that comes out to $28.3 million a year. You happy with that?
Yes.
So am I. I'm thrilled. So I think he, honestly, if this goes to 7, he can wind up getting over $200 million.
He's still a legit defender. He could play multiple positions.
At 4 positions.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think there's a world where he signs for 7 years, 210. That's $30 million a year. And that would not surprise me. And honestly, if I'm the Yankees, I'd live with that. I think he's worth it. And I think his game translates too. Again, he's not this power velocity. If he's a contact player who doesn't strike out a lot, that translates to older age. It just does.
Yeah. And it's better for the Yankees.
Yeah.
With some of the guys they have in the lineup who do strike out too much. Yeah.
Completely agreed.
Yeah. All right. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button on our videos, hit the notification so you know when our videos go up. You can also join the Locked On Yankees Insiders Club. For the listeners of our show, the link is in the description. If you're watching us on YouTube, there you go. QR code for you to click on and join the Locked On Yankees Insiders Club. You'll get texts from us. You can text us questions, comments, reactions to anything that's happening with the Yankees. You also get top priority on Fan Mail Friday. And while the season's happening, we'll send you roster moves. We'll send you lineups every day and any breaking news so you don't have to check social media. There's also a private Discord where you can commiserate during games. We were doing that during the games this weekend, and especially the 15-inning game the other night, which we will be talking about in a bit. There is a 14-day free trial. So coming up, we're going to talk about the ALCS and the NLCS and the ALDS and all that good stuff that the Yankees aren't involved with next.
What's up, guys? This NFL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer that you are not going to want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Now, I love using FanDuel. It's got so many different ways that I can bet. I can build parlays, try player props, and even follow the games live while it's happening. I watched more football this year on FanDuel. Even more exciting it makes it because it's something riding on the action every single game, which is the way I love to watch football. And whether you're a casual fan or you love diving into all the stats, FanDuel makes the game day experience that much better. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com, download the FanDuel app today to get started. What's up? So a lot of history that goes into these AL and NLCS, and I don't think a lot of people are necessarily aware of it. They've done a terrible job, quite frankly, of like reporting how historical this is.
Yeah.
And what's funny is like that draws more people in, to be honest with you.
Right. Like I'm seeing more written about it than being said about it on the broadcasts. And it's in this day and age, more people are watching things, whether they're streaming it on their computers or watching it on TV, as opposed to reading things about it.
Yeah. So I don't get it at all. But let's go over it for you. We're going to inform all of you so you guys can come here and get all of it if you need to too. So first of all, just out of the front, 2 things that could be historical. So we have 2 franchises in the AL and NLCS who could win their first World Series ever. Brewers and the Mariners have both never won a World Series. Just for other reference, the Blue Jays have their 2 from the early 90s and the Dodgers have won 8. The Dodgers could become the first team to repeat since the New York Yankees in 99-2000. I personally am rooting against that for the Dodgers. I'd rather the Yankees keep that record and hold. Is it quite impressive, though? Let's give the Dodgers their props if we can for a second. It is that just shows how difficult it is to repeat in today's modern day era with free agency and stuff. It's been 25 years. Free
agency and all the extra rounds in the playoff.
It's so difficult to do. So, I mean, give them a little bit of their props for what it's worth. This is the 3rd time in the last 35 years that two teams who have never won the World Series have made it to the LCS in the same year. So even the rarity of that is huge. The Brewers were the last one to do it in 2011 when them and the Rangers were in the LCS. That was when we got that Rangers-Cardinals World Series. The Brewers lost to the Cardinals in that LCS. But that was, to me, at least from my lifetime, I'm sure you might have a different answer. That's the best World Series that I've ever watched, in my opinion. It was so back and forth down to the final strike, the Alan Craig, the David Freese hits. I mean, to me, that's the best World Series I've ever watched.
Yeah, I wasn't really paying attention to it till the last game.
Yeah, that was an amazing series, though. So I would give it that one. Then there was 2001, Mariners and the Diamondbacks both went to that one. That was when the Yankees infamously beat the Mariners in that LCS. And the D-backs, of course, beat the Yankees in the World Series that year. If it's Mariners Brewers, Stacey, it'll be the second time since 1920 that you have two teams who have never won the World Series facing off against each other. Now, we use 1920 because a lot of the World Series before that, the teams were so new that every World Series the years prior was a first-time matchup because a lot of teams hadn't won at that point. Can you guess? I'm sure you read it already, so it's probably a stupid question, but can you, if anyone out there in the chat that wants to guess, the only other World Series since 1920 where two teams played each other and it was both of them trying to win their first title?
I wouldn't have known it if I didn't read it.
Really? Okay. So I do find this fascinating too, and a lot of people don't realize this, which is when you go through the events of baseball history, a lot of people fail to realize how pathetic this team was throughout their entire history. So 1980 is the year. It's Phillies Royals. That is the year the Phillies win their first championship. Now, what's crazy to think about is that's the year the Phillies win their first championship. Do you know what year the Phillies came into Major League Baseball?
I don't know the exact year, but I do know that my dad always loved talking about the fact that the Phillies were so far under 500 as a whole because they've been playing so long that it would take a certain number of years to reach 500 overall. And the Yankees have the opposite problem where they'd have to lose a bunch of games in order for them to go below 500. But my dad used to always talk about that.
The Phillies started in 1883.
Yeah.
And they started as the Philadelphia Phillies, meaning they are the longest franchise in professional sports that has kept the same name and city name throughout their entire existence. There's been other teams that have come from different cities, and the Cincinnati Reds are earlier, but they were the Red Stockings, so it kind of changes both things. But this is the 1883. They don't win their first World Series until almost 100 years after their existence.
Yeah,
it is mind-boggling to think of how bad the Phillies were. And I don't think people realize it because since 1980, they've been a fairly competitive team. Of course, you get the 2008 pennant and the 2009 pennant. So you'd think of them as a pretty successful organization. Stacey, they are a pathetic organization for like the first 100 years of their existence. It is wild to think of that. So 1980, the Mike Schmidt team wins that World Series. But whatever happens in this World Series of 2025, it is guaranteed to be a first-time World Series matchup, one that we've never seen before. That is kind of funny. After last year, we had Yankees-Dodgers, which is the most we've ever seen in history.
Right.
So I think it's a good thing, though, for Major League Baseball that it shows that the sport's got a little bit of parity. And that is a good thing for the sport. Having a repeat champion is cool, and dynasties are good for sports, but also having a little bit of parity so every fan base is also involved going into the year is pretty cool. Plus, we constantly talk about, Stacey, how many teams in baseball just don't care and don't put an effort in and don't try to win. It's a good sign for baseball that this is two new teams that can win a championship, a first-time matchup in the World Series. I think that's a good thing for the sport. This could also be the fourth time in the last 9 seasons where we have a first-time champion as a franchise. That's pretty cool, too. 2023, the Rangers did it, which is another team, by the way, around forever and never won a World Series until 2023. Nationals in 2019 and the 2017 Astros, which shouldn't count, but regardless.
Why isn't there an asterisk there?
Yeah, those are all the first-time champions in the last decade, so we could add a fourth one to there if we could too. The Blue Jays could be the first team ever to win their first 3 World Series appearances. Remember, they haven't been since the early 90s. That's pretty cool. No, I mean, like, you go to your first...
but there's like 30, there's 33 years or 32 years between possible. That's, I mean, I get it, but that's kind of silly.
Would you rather go to more World Series and lose or win it every time you go?
Well, I guess I'd want to win it every time I go, but not have a 32-year gap between 2 appearances.
It is interesting, right? So the Dodgers, by the way, enter this Brewers series, which I think is wrong, as a significant favorite, Stacey. Like, they are very heavily favored in this series, and I don't quite understand why. Regardless of that, we can discuss that in the next segment. They could not only be the first repeat champion since 25 years, be the first repeat pennant winner since the Phillies did it in 08-09, which is crazy to think about, that no one's repeated as a pennant in that long. That, by the way, is the longest stretch in Major League history for a repeat pennant winner. That is crazy to think about, that it's that long. And that's only what, 15 years? So we've never had a 15-year stretch in history where a team hasn't won the pennant in consecutive years. That is wild to think about too. Regardless, this is also the longest drought in Major League history without a repeat champion, which is pretty cool. So Dodgers can have a lot of history. Every team could basically create history in this postseason, which to me is always baseball's drawing point, is, oh, we're America's pastime. The most historical things happen here, yada, yada, yada. And then you have a champion or a championship, a Final Four, where there's a lot of historical implications and no one mentions it in baseball. I find that so odd that, like, why is MLB Network not just obsessing over, oh, look what can happen, look what can happen? Major League Baseball confuses me to no end sometimes with their marketing. Like, you have an opportunity with so much history to do that.
On that note, we're going to move to the next segment because I have something to discuss about broadcasting and everything, and we'll catch up with some news, what's going on. And I also have something to bring up that I watched this weekend that I need to talk about because I think it's hilarious. So we're going to talk about all of that next.
So guys, let me tell you about Monarch Money. Most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth, and whether it's 401ks, or investments, when you don't picture, it makes things a lot more difficult, and you can wind up leaving a lot of money on the table. That's why there's Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal financial tool that can help bring your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface, whether it's on your laptop or your phone. Monarch is built for the people with busy lives, and if you've put off organizing your finances for long enough, Monarch is for you. Monarch does the heavy lifting for you. You can link up all your accounts in minutes. You can see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of all your money without ever having to touch a spreadsheet. Maximizing investments, increasing your savings rate, easily reviewing your finances with your partner and your financial advisor, keeping a clear view of your financial health week to week, long term. It's the perfect way, and you should not let this financial opportunity slip through the cracks. So use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONMLB. So, Stacey, we head into the AL and NLCS. The Mariners are up 1-0 in their series in the ALCS. Can we just go over that game first before we... Well, you know what? Let's go back to the Game 5 and how the Mariners got here. 15 innings, unbelievable pitching performances from both teams. Just crazy how deflating it would have been.
And a lot of offensive futility for those few, how many innings were there where each team got people on as far as second and third, and they couldn't get people on. Yeah.
It was an unbelievable, entertaining game. Did you start, maybe I'm revealing how tired I get or how much older I feel, at least. Were you starting to get to the point, I know you're rolling your eyes there. Were you starting to get to the point, though, when this extra, I mean, I'm not trying to be a party pooper. I love long historical things, but weren't you getting to the point where you're like, all right, can we just end this already? That was at least where I was. Like, I enjoyed that it was going on forever and everything, but part of me was just like, all right, we get it. Like, it's a long game. It's like, can we just end this game already?
No, I kind of wanted to see it go at least 18 because I was thinking back to when I was working at Baseball Prospectus, I was doing the recap for the Dodgers-Red Sox game that went 18 innings and was like 7 hours long, and I didn't file my story. Yeah, I didn't file my story till 6 a.m. Eastern because I was up so late watching that game. So I was like, yeah, let's make it another 18-inning game. But it literally ended, at 4 hours, 59 minutes? It was like right before it was about to hit 5 hours.
Yeah, crazy stuff. So what a great game that was. Seattle gets away with the victory. Here's the thing. the amount of pitchers Seattle used in that game to get through that game. Then you have to travel cross country, or I guess internationally technically, but you get the point, to Toronto. You have 1 day of rest in between. They used almost every pitcher on their roster. How, if you're the Blue Jays, is your game plan in game one not to get every count to a 3-2 pitch?
You know what happened? It was George Springer hitting that leadoff home run on the first pitch that made them think they needed to not do that.
I think it was their strategy going in that was to attack early, because honestly, the analytics tell you on the pitcher they saw last night to swing early in the zone because he likes to get ahead with a first pitch strike. But this is where analytics fail you, Stacey. The analytics don't tell you that the Mariners played in a 15-inning game the night prior and used almost every pitcher in their rotation and are not able to recover as quickly. Like, analytics don't tell you those things. So to me, yeah, the analytics may tell you attack early in the zone, but they don't tell you that they used every pitcher the night before, so everyone's on short rest. To me, it made so little sense to be attacking early, and I get it. Springer has also made a career out of that. Out of attacking first pitch and going yard in a playoff game.
And it wasn't even a bad pitch. It was like up in the zone and out, and he still got it out.
So for Springer, I get it, but you can't see Springer do that and then just abandon ship with your game plan coming in. It made no sense. So he throws 25 pitches in the first inning, throws 76 pitches total, and leaves after the sixth.
Yeah.
He had multiple under 10 pitch innings. How is that possible?
Yeah, he had like 3 of them in a row where he had like 9 pitch innings.
and then the best part, the game ended where the Mariners as a team threw 96 pitches. They didn't even throw 100 pitches in the game. It makes no sense. It was a terrible approach from the Toronto Blue Jays. Honestly, I know it's game one. It's a debatable series ending approach in a game one of a series, because now you have Trey Savage, who all of Toronto's got confidence in, but let me tell you something. It still is his 6th career start in Major League Baseball, and ALCS is a bigger deal. When the last game he played, when he dominated the Yankees had a terrible approach, swinging very early in the accounts with Trey Savage, but the Yankees kind of wanted to jump on him because rookie pitcher, young, could be nervous, so I got their strategy. Plus, the Yankees were down in that series, so the Yankees kind of needed to try and jump on him so they can try and get a lead in that game, because they wanted to try and be able to control the narrative and head back to the Bronx 1-1. Obviously, it didn't work that way, but that was the game plan for the Yankees. Now it's completely different for the Mariners. The Mariners are up 1-0, and going to Toronto, I can almost guarantee you the Mariners, their fans, their ownership, their players would have 1,000% signed for 1-1 going back to Seattle.
Oh, yeah. Knowing how well Toronto plays at home all the time. Yeah.
Exactly. So you get game one in this series. Now you can work your Savage. You can make him throw pitches. You can make him work the count. You don't have to swing early in the count at all. And the Mariners are good at doing that. Plus, the thing that surprised me with the Yankee game, your Savage was great. John Schneider pulled him after 74 pitches in that game.
I wanted to ask you about that what did you think about him taking out Gausman when he did?
Didn't love it at all. And Derek Jeter made a great point in the postgame where Jeter said if a pitcher was dominating us in the postseason, we didn't care who was coming in the bullpen. If someone was coming in and they were taking the starter out, we were all like, thank you. It's a new look. So you got to be careful with those kind of things. And they got away with it, but they really shouldn't have, because the insurance run came in late and that kind of screwed them, because it's a different approach if you're down 2-1. But I think they can approach you Savage in a different way. Plus, there's a ton more pressure on you Savage in this game. He was pitching in the Yankee game with a 1-0 lead in that series. Now he's down 1-0 and needs to try and avoid his team going back to Seattle down 2-0. It's a whole different level of pressure on the kid. I just think the Blue Jays' approach in game one was just as horrendous as humanly possible. I want to know what you think of that first before we get into the preview of the NLCS.
Yeah, I agree with that. It was kind of shocking to see them play that way. You know, it was almost like they expended all their energy against beating the Yankees. That's what their World Series was, because they came out so flat in game one that I just was sitting there thinking to myself, well, why couldn't they play like this against the Yankees? It was because they put all of their energy into wanting to beat the Yankees so badly that they forgot, oh yeah, we have an ALCS to play.
I don't, by the way, I don't want to be that guy, but allow me to be that guy for just a second. I get it. The Yankees are the Yankees. what is with the like obsession with like once the Yankees lose? The whole like everyone in Toronto got like custom jerseys that say the Yankees lose on the back. Like,
yeah,
it was the ALDS. Can you try like go win a World Series? Why are you beat the Yankees? They're in your rearview mirror. Why are you so obsessed with beating? Like, it's confused. That's not coming from like a Yankee fan. The Yankees, like, we would never do that when they beat like the Royals. No one was like, oh, how about those Royals still home? Like, no, it's over. Like, it's so odd to me. And we like as Yankee fans, we don't view the Blue Jays as like that kind of rival.
No,
we just don't. So it's very weird that the Blue Jays view the Yankees as that kind of rival. It's weird to me. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't really understand it either, but I don't understand. I know that, Vlad Jr. did the Yankees or the Jankies lose like David Ortiz does. And, I know that John Schneider was saying start spreading the news, and they were doing all this obnoxious stuff celebrating in Yankee Stadium. And I get it.
Doing it after you beat the Yankees, I understand. Like the Schneider stuff, it annoyed me, but like
see, I don't, because when the Yankees beat other teams, they're not sitting there belittling them and you know what I mean?
The boombox thing with Judge is the one that comes to mind. That was a little stupid.
They don't do that anymore. He learned his lesson.
But I get right after beating them, like throwing it back, like throwing their cute little stuff.
Oh, how much do you want to bet that Vlad Jr. will go on a podcast after this season?
That's what I think.
Bash the Yankees the entire time.
Like the Yankees did a thing on their social media after they beat the Red Sox. Like they were posting like how's that dirty water tasting and everything. Like I get that.
Oh yeah, I get that too. Sure.
So Schneider doing the start spreading the news in the post game press, like in the locker room, celebrating in Yankee Stadium. I actually understand that.
Schneider, you're lucky that you came up against a worse manager than you. Okay, so calm down.
Yeah. That's the case with everyone that plays the Yankees. But
calm down.
What I just don't understand from the but that series is over now. You made it back to Toronto. Focus on Seattle. Why are you still
exactly?
Game one, there's like Blue Jays fans chanting like the Yankees lose. Like I don't.
If they lose tonight, I'm going to laugh so hard because
they're screwed.
They're
screwed. If they go back to Seattle down 2-0, they're screwed.
Yeah,
Without facing Woo, by the way, they haven't faced Woo yet.
Yeah, I mean, they still could come back and win the series if they're down 0-2, but it's not that easy. Playing in Seattle, they're hungry for this more than Toronto for some reason. Well, I don't know why.
And again, they have the pitching advantage by a lot, especially if Toronto loses this game with you Savage on the mound. Who goes for them after that? Whereas, I mean, Brian Woo's going to pitch in Game 3 for Seattle at home.
So I think Bassett is on this roster now. I think he was hurt, which is why he wasn't on. And I think Scherzer's back too. So if they do, maybe they do a piggyback. Who knows?
And we'll break down a lot of it. I mean, we're running out of time here, but Dodgers Brewers. I don't understand how the Dodgers are such a significant favorite in this series. I think it's a lot closer than people think.
I think it's closer, but I really think the Brewers can pull it off. I hope they.
So do I.
I hope they pull it off.
They're sneakily, I think it's under recognized. They're sneakily one of the best organizations in baseball of the last like 20 years. Yeah. Honestly, like they
don't have the results that you expect from a team with that kind of organization. But yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, like so I think there's a really good case to be made that I don't like the Dodgers back end of their lineup at all. I think past that number 5 spot, they start to dwindle a lot in that back end of the lineup. Kike Hernandez certainly has like the pedigree in the playoffs where he gets things done, but Pages I like as a player, but I don't think they're stacked in their entire lineup. And their bullpen, Stacey, they're using starters like Kershaw and Sheehan to get through their bullpen because they don't have a bullpen.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's a guarantee the Dodgers win this series like everyone seems to think it is. So my pick right now, I think we're getting Brewers Mariners, which is totally not what Major League Baseball wanted.
Right.
But I think we're getting Brewers Mariners, honestly.
Yeah. The one thing I wanted to bring up just quickly before we end. Yes, was showing Game 1 of the 2000 World Series and Game 5 of the 2000 World Series. I think it was Saturday, if I'm not mistaken, or was it Friday? Mm-hmm. Whatever. So it's the 11th inning of Game 1, and Mike Stanton is in to pitch against the Mets. And they had the radio broadcast, so Sterling and Kay. And they were talking about Mike Stanton being a flamethrower and how he was blowing pitches by guys.
Oh,
and
God,
it was 93 miles an hour was his highest pitch. And I thought to myself, if any of those guys, if we were able to transport any of those guys from 2000 to now to face the guys who, when we were watching the game on Friday night, what's it called? The 15-inning game. Tarek Skubal threw 101 on his last pitch. On his last pitch. And
what
I thought to
about
myself,
a couple of weeks ago when Luis Heel threw him one of those starts? We were like, his fastball was only at like 94. He could be hurt. We don't even know. We were like,
yeah, like 25 years ago, 93 was a flamethrower. He was blowing it by people. And now it's like, if you throw 93, guys are stepping up there like, oh yeah, we're at 93.
He would be a fringe like bullpen guy at throwing 93 nowadays. It's crazy what this.
Like he wouldn't be one of your high-end bullpen guys, only throwing 93 as your highest pitch.
Not close.
So I thought that was hilarious.
That's hysterical.
Yeah, and I had to bring that up because I just was laughing so much. I thought it was so funny. And also quickly, I am loving the fact that teams who are not normally this far in the playoffs are realizing just how bad John Smoltz is at his job.
Oh yeah, it's getting public. It's becoming real public. So I don't
I saw
have
Mariners
fun
fans
when the Blue
complaining
Jays
about
fans
it.
go after you.
I saw Blue Jays fans complaining about it. It's hilarious. That's the one thing that baseball fans can agree on. We may not like each other's teams, but we all can agree that Fox has to do something about John Smoltz, because how do you want to push your product out and publicize it and get people to watch it if you have a man constantly complaining about the state of baseball?
Well, 29 of the 30 franchises can agree on that. Braves fans seem to think John Smoltz is great at his job. Which confuses me too, because if David Cohn were an awful broadcaster, I would say he's awful at his job.
Right.
Just because he played for the Yankees doesn't change whether he's good or not. Like, John Smoltz is a great pitcher, Hall of Famer. No one's arguing that. Right. But like, he could still be an awful broadcaster. Doesn't really change things. So I don't understand why the loyalty. You don't have to have loyalty to him in the broadcast booth if he's a good pitcher. It confuses me, but whatever.
Right. And also, the combo of A-Rod, Ortiz, and Jeter is fantastic. I'm sorry. They're up there with the Inside the NBA crew. They're hilarious together. I love it.
You don't think Ortiz gets a little stupid sometimes, though?
Oh, yeah, he does.
He gets a little like, all right, dude. Like,
I like that A-Rod just sits over there giggling. Jeter is the straight man because he's sitting next to Ortiz, and they usually show his reaction to what Ortiz is doing. But I actually like that combination. I think they're really funny.
Yeah, I agree. It works like a charm, to be honest.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us. Sorry we didn't really get into the comments here, everyone, but thank you guys for joining us. I figured last night, since Brian was going to be off today from his regular 9 to 5, why not do a live show on a Monday afternoon? And there are 110 people in here on a Monday. So thank you for that. We appreciate it. And thank you for making Locked On Yankees your first listen every day. For your second listen, find the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night until a World Series champion is crowned. Get local analysis on a national scale. You can find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcasts. So that'll do it for this live edition of Locked On Yankees. I'm Stacey Gotsoulias.
And I'm Brian McKeon. We'll catch you guys tomorrow.